Tim and Gemma from the Mental Health Hour, back again with another mental health moment. And this week we'll be discussing a little bit more about significant loss. But first, we should reiterate it one more time that Gemma and I are not mental health professionals or counselors. We're just two people that have experienced a lot of the topics that we discuss on the show and like to share our experience with you guys in hopes that it helps somebody out there not feel quite as alone. So when we're talking about significant loss, the important thing to remember, and one of the things that seems to slip our minds about significant loss and grieving in general, is that we think that it always has to do with the death of a loved one or the death of a pet or just death in general. And that's not always the case. Significant loss can come in many shapes and sizes. Everything from losing a job to having to readjust your life in any way from the norm. As we've talked about before, are creatures of habit, and anything that deters or disrupts our lives in any way can inevitably be from significant loss. Gemma, did you want to elaborate on that a little bit?
Yeah, so I know personally when I had to medically retire a few years back, that was something that I trained my whole life for, more or less. And to be told that I could no longer do that, I pretty much had to grieve the loss of a previous life, for want of a better way of putting it, because I knew that was something I could never go back to, because my health wasn't going to get any better. So that was the end of that chapter of my life, and I had to grieve that loss and start to change and adapt to what my life was going to be from here on in. And then that can be for anything, for any kind of change, for any kind of job, college, university, anything that you've spent, I guess, a significant amount of your time doing, and then all of a sudden, for whatever reason, it ends, it finishes. You've finished, you've been retired, you get sacked, anything.
Yeah.
And then it could be like something else, like significant change. Again, thinking back to my time in hospital, I spent a very large amount of time in hospital. And then coming out of the hospital, coming back home, I had to adapt to having what I had, all that support and help around me, to coming home and having nothing. And that was a huge change for me to get used to again. So it can be something like that, where you've got used to something, like having people around, even like a relationship. It can be what you once had for a long time, like a relationship or a friend. Doesn't necessarily mean death, but for them to no longer be a part of your life, even in the long term, and when it goes to a short term, where they were, or like when you were living with someone and then you don't necessarily part ways, but you're no longer living with them, that's a change as well,
Right.
which you have to adapt to. So
Exactly. So moving forward with the grief is acceptance. That's the end goal. We know the 5 stages of grief: denial, anger, bargaining, depression, acceptance. And I know that it's changed now to 7 or 8 or 9, but I still think the 5 stages of grief are the core values there, the core things that we run through on almost a daily basis, even if we're unaware of it. For instance, myself, one of my biggest things, as Gemma just shared, one of hers, was realizing I was an alcoholic and having to give up alcohol for the rest of my life, because it will kill me, not just to maintain a healthy lifestyle, but also to not kill myself along the way, as my body was shutting down. So I definitely had to go through those 5 stages of grief: denial that it was happening, anger about where and how I've gotten to where I was, bargaining, just trying to think of any way I could still have alcohol in my life, Depression, you hit that milestone of depression, and sometimes you work these steps out of order. It doesn't have to go in any specific order. But then finally acceptance is what you hit. And I've accepted the fact that my life is this way now. And it's actually for the better. And when you hit that stage of acceptance, it really kind of turns your thinking around a little bit, and it makes it all the more worth it. Another quick thing, when grieving the loss of a death, everybody goes through that, and you work those same 5 steps. But the important thing to remember is that every year you're going to be reminded of this death anniversary. So as the years go by, it should be a little bit easier to prepare and know that it's coming. Gemma, what do you think?
Yeah, definitely with the death. Obviously the first of everything, like the first birthday, the first Christmas, like anniversaries, any milestone like that, that's always going to be hard for the first, even for like a few years. But from personal experience, it has got easier as years have gone by, and you start to begin to, I don't know if accept the right, I guess accept that they're no longer with you, and you can find ways to, like, I guess deal with it easier. Same with like when I no longer could work for such a long time. It took me a very, very long time to accept that that was it for me now, and that I hadn't just wasted years of my life training to do this job that I only did qualified for just over a year. And I tried to do everything, and going through what Tim mentioned with the steps, I'd go through them and then I find I'd go back and start them again, because I never actually got to acceptance till not that long ago, to be fair. And the acceptance side of it for me was accepting that I couldn't do that job in a classroom, for example, but I have found ways of sharing my experience and other things, like through live streaming or like this, anything. It can be in any ways to adapt what you can't do now and move forward and adapt that. So it can be anything.
Definitely want to reach that end game of acceptance, and that will make things so much easier as we continue our lives and grieve down the road.
Yeah.
So that should do it for today's mental health moment. And thanks for watching. We'd like to take the opportunity to thank every one of you for stopping by the YouTube channel and watching these moments, watching the replays of our show and any other content that we can provide you with. If you do like this, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel for more information and more mental health content on a weekly basis. Gemma?
Yeah, don't forget the bio link below and the website also just below. Don't forget to check us out. Pop on there, see everything we're doing. There's also a Discord which you can join and find out more information about what we're doing, all the things that we share. But that's us for now.
Yes. And if you need any more information about significant loss, we do have an episode in the complete series on the YouTube channel. And you can feel free to reach out to either of us at any time. So thanks again for watching.
Thanks. Bye.